Hi everyone and welcome back to Talking to Teachers. My name is Chris Height and today I'm joined by a familiar face from the theology department here at CBA. Today I'm joined by Mr. Butler, a theology teacher here at the Academy, who as many know also plays a pivotal role in running the service program. How are you today, Mr. Butler?
I'm good. Great. How are you doing?
I'm great. Thanks for asking. You know, I'm real happy you joined us. We love all the videos that you've been in. You were actually my first ever CBA interview back in sophomore year with the Mass. I was interviewing for the food drive, I remember.
Okay.
It was my first ever interview. I was a little nervous, so I'm really happy to have you back here and get definitely a better interview going. Yeah,
That's
absolutely.
crazy. That seems like so long ago, but it was 2 years ago.
Absolutely. You know, it's so many years ago. It's crazy. Absolutely. But now I want to start our episode here with this, you know, the same question I asked everybody. What's your CBA origin story? How did you end up teaching at CBA?
Okay, so I was at the University of Scranton getting my master's degree, and I was finishing up, and an email came across from Dr. Father Koch now at St. Benedict's to invite anybody who's finishing their master's degree to apply. Christian Brothers Academy needs a religion teacher. So I sent my application in, and I met with then Mr. Santinello and Mr. Higgins, and they offered me the position. I didn't know if I was going to take it or not because I was going to be a corrections officer. I was offered a job as a corrections officer at the same time. So I ended up coming here, taking it, and it's been 17 years now. And
wow.
Yeah, it's been great.
17 years of greatness. Now, I got to ask you, because I know you helped run the jiu-jitsu club, right? So
yes.
How did that come to be? Did you train before CBA, and that's kind of what got you into doing that? I'm curious. I've always been wondering.
Yeah, no, I started training in 2001 in Scranton, PA, and then when I moved out here, I kept training down in Point Pleasant at Bill Scott's. And yeah, I trained it for my adult life. I trained jiu-jitsu, and then I asked if we could start a club here. And finally, after a few years, Mr. Fales, who was then the associate principal, kind of got us going. And we have a great following again too. Like doing it during enrichment and before school, it's going fantastic.
No, yeah, it's really cool. Definitely one of the cooler clubs here on campus.
Yeah, it's awesome.
I might have to join it soon. I don't know.
Come down during enrichment.
Yeah, absolutely. So now I'm gonna get to a little more of an open-ended question.
Okay.
Who or what inspired you to serve others? Because obviously you're known to be the service teacher here at CBA. So who or what inspired you to serve others?
I remember coming in and I saw Mr. Sunnig at first, one of the first people I met, and he was just so. He just seemed like he had it all figured out. He's so peaceful and calm, and he was doing all these trips, and he invited me to go on a couple of trips. One was the Romero Center in Camden was the first one. And then in 2012 actually, right after Hurricane Sandy, so we didn't even have we had the transformers down, so we weren't even in the building. We were supposed to go into class. We were supposed to go on that class trip the week after we got back, so it was 3 weeks missing school. And he's like, "Do you feel comfortable going?" I was like, "Yeah, I still want to go." And I went to my first Montana trip, and it was great. So I have to say, it started with him. He was pivotal in getting me involved, and I saw how it enriched his life, and he was so happy about what he was doing, and then I started finding that same kind of joy with everything that he got me involved into. And then Mr. Fales as well, who was always like, "Can you do this? Can you do that?" And all of a sudden I started getting involved in all these service things that I never even knew were there. So
no, yeah, absolutely. And I feel like before service is getting a lot more of a media presence now. I feel like
yes.
All the posts, and when I came in, I didn't really know about the great service program we have, and I was absolutely stunned with the cool trips that I hear about. A lot of the guys from my grade and all the grades talk about how great these trips are. I might have to go on one of these trips now.
Oh, you got to go spring. They're going to Montana and they're going to Appalachia in spring. Appalachia is a beautiful trip. You really feel connected to serving. They're all good, but there you're physically doing some work, so it's awesome. And Mr. Lutz has done a great job of advertising these trips to people, and also Mrs. Macarella and to incoming students, hey, we do this here. This is what we're about. So no, they're fantastic.
No, yeah, they seem great.
You would love it.
And I went to Asbury Park with Mr. Savarino once. That was, I actually really enjoyed that trip. And I was even supposed to go as a service person. I was more just going for digital media, actually taking pictures. And I found myself, helping people, handing stuff out, helping set up the tables. And it was really a transformative moment for me, just seeing, unfortunately, there's some people that aren't as fortunate as us. And I really thought that was great. And that was just a little peek into the service program, with these trips. Yeah.
I would say serving locally is more important than anything because like you can, this is our like, community. This is our like, people that we're supposed to help. They're right next to us. I mean, it sounds great going to Montana and going to Appalachia, and it is great, but doing those local trips, they're amazing, and there's more of them and more opportunities of them.
Yeah, so. And obviously, less school to miss, obviously that's unfortunately one of the aspects. But now, kind of segueing still into trips, are there any special or favorite moments that you've had from these service trips that you've run over the years now? You said 17 years, so over the 17 years now, I mean, there has to be some.
There's so many. I mean, we down in, I remember going to Homestead, Florida, and we like had to, blow up air mattresses and put them all around. This was like 5 years ago, and we slept on the floor, and there was cockroaches around, and I had to help like clean up cockroaches, kill cockroaches, like, and it was like, wow, this is real. Like, this is like, it was totally different. Like, it was not a comfortable trip, but I realized like the kids, like they thrived on it. It was like they weren't. It wasn't like they were so turned off by it. During the day they would serve the kids, and we'd be kind of uncomfortable at night, but it didn't faze them. You know what I mean? Like those, missing some of those creature comforts. And I just remember like, wow, we're really doing something real down here. And I was like, oh, this is awesome. And the first time we went to Appalachia was a wonderful experience. Like we went down to West Virginia, and we stayed basically in an old church. And every day it was 100 degrees with 100% humidity, and we were going out and serving. We actually built a retaining wall. We were digging these holes that were like 6 feet in the ground. We didn't have the right equipment. Sided a house, painted a house, and the group guys who graduated last year actually, like TJ Meehan and Miss D was on the trip. Alec Noe, who was a graduate volunteer. They went on and it was fantastic. They worked so hard. I was very impressed with their work ethic, and you get to see like the difference you can make in some stranger's life that you'll never really get to know well enough, but you can leave something for them, like building a wall that will be there long after you're gone.
Yeah, absolutely. That's absolutely awesome. And kind of talking about going back to that one Asbury trip I was on. I didn't obviously know any of these people that were coming up to the table to take the stuff, but like I even saw like a kid being like really happy. I remember Mr. Savarino was playing guitar with him, and it was such a really nice moment. I feel like and it's like these wholesome moments that just make you feel good. And how I feel like helping people really is just one of those best things. And you're the one who really facilitates that for all of us, and it's great.
Yeah, we're wired that way as human beings to help others. I mean, the religion means to like the term religio, but to bind together. Like we're supposed to, like we're happier, we're more connected. People live longer who help other people, and you just feel better about your own life. Because when you focus on yourself so much, which any of us can do, I could do it any day, like it doesn't give you happiness. But when you focus on others, like, and you get outside of yourself, like it's a great thing. Like you really enjoy it. And so many people, a part of the school's mission, are a part of that. Other teachers go on these trips, Like I can't go anymore because my kids are so young, but all these other teachers are stepping up, they're going. Mr. Meehan's planning them, Dr. Tranks, doing Christian service. It's great. Mr. Savarino, Miss Kathy Carroll, they're going on the Asbury trips every week. So it's awesome to see the great good that we're doing.
No, yeah, absolutely. It's really absolutely awesome. So now moving on to my next question. So obviously we're in November now. Thanksgiving's kind of coming up. How has the Thanksgiving food drive become a pinnacle of CBA service in the past few years, and why do you think it's important? Because obviously it's been a big thing lately.
Yeah, it's, I tell you, like when you go talk to the actual people and you go to like the pantries, and you hear how many people depend on the pantry's help. Like, and there's limitations too. Like, they can only come like once or twice a month to a certain pantry, like the one in West Long Branch. And you realize like this, like a protein shake, right? Like they can't afford that. Like, but we're able to give it to them, so that will give that kid something to bring to school with them.
Sure.
Or that guy who's working, working poor, but doesn't have enough money to buy something like that, that's his lunch. He's going from one job to the next. Or that family who's really struggling. It makes a huge difference in their life, especially when we collect things like, hygiene products and diapers and things like they just cannot afford. There's not enough money. And the need it continues to get, I've said it every year, but it's true. It's greater than ever. So the more items you get, and I always talk about numbers, but literally you're actually helping more families and more people, because as soon as the holidays are over, those food banks go completely empty, and it's like they have to start all over again.
Mm-hmm. No, yeah, absolutely. And I think a recent example kind of set the tone before the food drive, like literally like days before it started, even the day it did, the hunger banquet. That was just, I feel like that was pretty impactful, especially for us students, because like, especially in my generation, we have never had anything like that before, where it's like, we don't really have lunch. And like, I feel like it definitely had an impact, a positive impact on the student body, because it really kind of gave us an example of that. And I thought you did a great job along with the other guys of organizing that with Mr. Meehan. And I thought it was just a great presentation. And I thought it was really impactful for at least me, and I'm sure a bunch of other guys.
Yeah, it was a good, we did it in years past, and then, COVID kind of threw everything off. And, Mr. Meehan had a great idea of doing it, and I'd never done it this way. Like, I used to do it at night, and we did a large assembly once, but Mr. Meehan's like, well, we do it right during lunch periods. I'm like, that makes perfect sense. And guys come in, they don't know what to expect, and, and then it's like an educational model. Like, you're like literally placed in a spot you would never normally be in. And granted, it's 30 minutes, but like, hey, I'm just eating rice. I just have rice and beans, and I have a chair. Oh, I have a full meal. I'm taken care of. Like, like people, that's their permanent situation sometimes, is on the floor. So that's where I think it's a great educational model to use.
So yeah, obviously, food insecurity. I totally agree, Mr. Butler. And Hunger Banquet, again, it was just so impactful for me. But I'm going to segue into my last couple questions here, the last two questions. What do you hope to see for the future of the food drive? Now, I'm going to be gone, and the seniors are going to be gone, but it seems like you have great guys each year that kind of help run it. But what do you hope to see for the future?
I kind of hope that it's just not a Thanksgiving food drive. I hope there's one in the spring too, because the spring there's great need. And I know during Thanksgiving we give thanks, and it makes perfect sense, and we do a great job. But like in the spring, like, those food banks are empty. So, they get help during Thanksgiving. It's like, oh, can we do something in the spring as well? And also, can we keep bringing in, like, if you think about it, like, giving the opportunity for some kid to eat the same way like some of our athletes eat. Like, they have their protein shake, they have their waters, they have all this, like, well, let's have foods like that available to donate, so that somebody could come in and go, oh, wow, I can't believe this is here. This is great. Like, I get to take protein shakes home, or I get to get, like high, something my family can't afford from the store is right here at this pantry. What a gift! Like those, having those high quality items donated, it makes a big impact.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Even if the numbers aren't the same as they are, or whatever the numbers, it's like the quality really matters. Like, and food needs have changed too. Like, if you are helping, like, we help sometimes women and children who are escaping domestic violence situations. So if you give them a canned good, and it's not Pop Top, they might not have a can opener to open it, because they might be living in a hotel or something. So you have to think about different things now. Everything has to be like a ready to eat meal. It's got to be something a Pop Top and a snack bar sometimes is better than a can of goods. Or like a meal to go is much better than something they can't do anything with or open. So it's I've learned so much about like the changing needs of people based on their situations from participating with these different pantries.
And just segueing into my last question, which is basically kind of a similar question, what do you hope to see for the future of the CBA service program in like a broader stance, just outside of the food drives and stuff, even maybe for trips and stuff like that? What do you hope to see?
I would say more local service opportunities outside of the Asbury trips, like another trip that we could do continuously, like on a schedule like Asbury is for those Science Youth trips, like things like that, to really connect local, because I think it makes more of an impact when you're going locally. Like, granted, keep doing the service trips that we're doing. I mean, they're wonderful. They cause positive change, but more local trips, more local connection. Seeing the good that's getting done in our local community and being involved, which we already are. We're doing a great job. I mean, we do so much that it doesn't even get advertised how much we do, which not everything should be advertised. But it's like being connected locally, I think, is the most important thing.
Sure. And now, so wrapping it up, Mr. Bauer, anything else you want to say to the community about service and like the entire service program, Thanksgiving Food Drive, anything, any message, final messages?
I guess I'd say bring in more food, right? We need more food. We always will, so we can help more people. And food drive's going now we got we have 5 days of school next week, and then 3 days of school the following week. So it's 8 days of school left to keep bringing in some food, and we'll take anything. I sent out some focus items in an email, which probably get tons of emails, so not everybody might read it. But like anything you bring in is going to go to good use, and it's going to go to one of the various. I mean, we have a food pickup in 5 minutes here now, so from another pantry in Red Bank. So bring in food. It's going to a great place, and sometimes you can't see the people you're helping, but I've had the opportunity a couple times to see those people, and they're very grateful, and they're in great need. And sometimes that meal is a way to kind of, lift them up and give them some security for that day, which then kind of buys them another day and another day. And eventually they can get to a place where they can support themselves.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Well, thank you, Mr. Butler, for joining us. I'll have to let you go because you got to go do that food pickup.
Yeah,
that's important. So thank you for watching Talking to the Teachers. For Mr. Butler, I'm Chris Height. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time.